and welcome to Gay by Gay. My name's Adam.
I'm JJ.
And today, we're gonna have a celebrity dinner party.
Obviously, any celebrity dinner party that JJ is hosting has to include the greatest man who ever lived, Prime Minister Stephen Harper. The former Prime Minister of Canada is a man who I have a great deal of admiration for because I feel like he is probably the one whose brain I'm the most eager to pick about political things in this country. You know, he has a background as an intellectual and a conservative activist in addition to being a politician.
Yeah.
And he has a sort of a long track record of saying, I think, admirable and interesting and thoughtful things about a topic I'm very interested in. So,
well, and if all else fails, he could play the piano for everybody.
yeah. Take me home. You like Rachel Maddow. Is she going to be there?
I do like Rachel Maddow. She's number one on the call sheet. I think she's clever. I think she's smart. You may not agree with everything she has to say, but I think that she's just like an interesting individual who's had an interesting story. And yeah, likewise, I'd like to kind of pick her brain for what's going to happen in this election. Not like I don't get that every night, but...
From Rachel herself.
Exactly.
Well, number two is another sort of conservative thought leader. It's a guy called George Will. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
He's sort of been the grand dame of conservative punditry in America for the last 40 years. He started writing a column for the Washington Post in the 1970s. He's not some raving Glenn Beck type by any stretch. He's just a man who's just very even-keeled, just very moderate, very tempered, but has a generally sort of conservative, cautious disposition on the passing scene. I just find him to be a consistently fascinating person. I can't get enough of watching lectures of him speaking at, colleges and whatnot.
Well, so far it sounds like a really thrilling, very conservative dinner party.
Oh yeah. Who's second on your list?
Ricky Gervais. He kind of has fallen off the radar, but I listened to his podcast quite obsessively when it first came out, and various audiobooks that he's had. I was tempted to put down a noted atheist. I read a few of those, the very popular atheist authors, but I think kind of a bummer. So I don't know. I feel like he's the closest thing.
He's sort of one of those loud British comedian atheists, which I feel is a subculture unto themselves.
But and also entertaining and I don't know, funny. And liberal.
Talking of loud British atheists, I picked a somewhat cliched person, which is the late Christopher Hitchens.
I was going to put Christopher Hitchens on.
I feel like he's kind of played out at this point. He's sort of the public intellectual that everybody likes.
Yeah.
And I think that's in part because a lot of his opinions were not as unorthodox as I think people often got the impression they were when they read them. But at the same time, it cannot be understated that he's a man that has a real gift with language. He's just a masterful teller of stories and anecdotes.
Yeah.
He has a sort of very lived life.
And your dinner party is most definitely no longer dry. Third on my list is also someone that we've talked about frequently.
RuPaul?
Yeah!
Do you want RuPaul playing the RuPaul character?
Yeah. Well, either way, I think RuPaul's interesting as a man as well, but I think just for the image, I'm picturing it like a Last Supper.
You would like it if he leaves halfway through. It's let me get my friend, and then RuPaul comes back, yes.
Everyone's yay!
I was trying to think of some who's from cartoon world, because I like cartoons, right? And so
interesting.
The cartoonist
crossed my mind.
The cartoonist that I think is the most interesting in this kind of context is the guy called Scott Adams. He's the cartoonist behind Dilbert. In addition to drawing Dilbert, which I think is a very funny comic, and he's a very funny guy, he's also written a lot of books that are just kind of about sort of basically social commentary. He's just kind of a very keen observer of the human condition in a very sort of sardonic and funny way.
Mary Louise Parker.
Okay.
Who is an actress? Are you familiar? She's not super well known.
I've seen Angels in America.
Yeah, she played Harper, the strung out Mormon lady. She's a super great actress. I just wanted to get an actress. I was at one point put Meryl Streep, but I feel like that was just done.
A little too on the nose.
Yeah, I just think she's kind of underrated. She's a cool actress because she does her own projects and she's not beholden to celebrity. And there's a whole bunch of them that could kind of fill this slot. I really like Catherine O'Hara. She was potentially on the list too. Noted Canadian actress. Parker Posey. There's a lot of the weirdo, slightly independent, but still pretty well-known, very funny ladies.
Yes. Well, the other guy that I wanted to talk about is this author whose name is William Poundstone, and who I've always really respected because he was like one of the first authors whose books, like adult books, I started reading when I was a child. He initially wrote these books called the Big Secret series, where he would just go and like solve these small mysteries of daily life, like figure out what is in the secret sauce in KFC, you know, what's in the original recipe, what's in Coca-Cola, like does card counting actually work? You know,
Interesting.
like, what are the real ages of various celebrities who lie about their ages all the time? Since then, he's gone on to write more substantial books. He's written a sort of like a long, in-depth analysis of different voting systems. He's written books about like, you know, thought experiments and how gambling logic works. Just very interesting man who was a big influence in my life and just how I sort of started to think about the world and be, you know, started to think of myself as someone who wanted to ask interesting questions and investigate mysteries.
My last person was Jimmy Carr, who is a noted British comedian who hosts a show called 8 out of 10 Cats. He's kind of known for these like one-liners, and he's known for dealing with hecklers in his audience. He has famous YouTube videos of him like reprimanding hecklers. And he's just like, he actually kind of has the career that I aspire to, in that he is a game show host.
Yes.
He's a public figure. He's one of my like favorite TV personalities, and I feel like he'd be interesting.
Sounds like things would be pretty lively at the old Adam table.
They would. People
would...
changing genders.
Lots of wisecracking, I feel like, would be had at this particular party. Whereas I feel at my thing, everybody would be trying to talk over each other, proving who was smarter.
I feel like at yours would be a lot of...
a lot of jowls.
Yeah.
Like, I would clearly be the odd man out in this sort of scenario.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe I'd just gracefully take my exit.
But maybe that speaks to who you are as a person, and that you like to surround yourself with people where you can be unique. So you surround yourself with elderly white men.
Elderly white man. It makes my own eccentricities seem more raging.